Things are changing in my world. Look at that enormous door. Lots of exciting things happening, and things are getting bigger. That's just the start over there. See ya.
G'day everybody, how are you going today? It is so good to see you. I'm here at the warehouse. It's a place we don't see very often on this channel, mostly because when COVID came, a lot of things changed in my world. I closed my city gallery, I closed my head office, because of course we were in lockdown for 2 years with breaks. So I worked from home, and at the end of COVID, it's like, I can do all this from home, so why not save some bucks? I had this warehouse, it was always the plan to sort of transition some of the production and the storage to this facility. Ultimately, the idea was that my HQ would be rented out. I'd still have the city gallery, and then this would be storage and production, and maybe a photo studio. I had a photo studio in the city, so I really had no need to create a photo studio here. That was kind of the overall plan. Head office was moved here, but then we closed the city due to COVID, so that all moved here. And this place became far more overloaded than was originally planned for. So what I'm doing is the epic task of cleaning all this up and making it an operational space again. Because really everything was just moved in here quickly as everything was shut down, and the process of organizing. And yes, it's 34 years that my business has been running. So we can see greeting cards, artifacts, frames from 34 years ago when my business started, and everything in between. And right now what I'm working on is this massive wall over here behind the camera. But today I want to share with you my journey of turning my warehouse back to the original vision of what I wanted it to be before COVID hit. And now there's the time and the energy, but also a certain impetus which came when I got this amazing email from the United States of America that was essentially asking for one pallet load of my books that sit on these shelves. And by that pallet load leaving for the USA a month ago, it allowed me to start my Tetris challenge, which was reshaping and restyling this massive wall. Ceiling is about 8 meters, so 25 feet high, and there's this massive wall, 3 by 5, so 15 bays, which can each hold 2 pallets. So I can hold 30 pallets. Now a pallet is 3 by 3 by 3 feet, a little bit bigger than that, or a meter by a meter by a meter. I can hold 30 cubic meters on this wall here. What I need to do is pack it more efficiently than it has been packed sitting on the pallets, clean up this array of goods that came from my mother when she moved out of her home and moved into aged care, and plus all the artifacts from my 2 galleries that shut. And then I'm going to have a photo studio right here in the warehouse. Now, before we get into that, I do want to talk about that amazing book order. So I got an email probably mid-November last year asking for a quote on getting almost a pallet load of books. This is my Sydney book, which this is one of the 3 jackets for the Sydney book. That order went through. I FedExed to the other side of the world. They were there for an event just before Christmas. And what this did is it created space, because I was so jam-packed. By moving that pallet load of books, it created enough space for me to start to move things around and sort things out. I really need to thank Tiffany for making that order. There's a nice ending to this story. I don't exactly know what event it's for, but there's also something happening here in Australia as well. And she ordered another 5 or 6 boxes of books for an Australian component that's coming up later this week. So there's 2 great parts to this. Obviously, selling a couple of 100 books is amazing. This beautiful large coffee table book, 2 times foolscap or 2 times A4, depending on where you are in the world. It's got over 200 images of Sydney in it. It took me 25 years to shoot it, so it's about showing the generation of the beautiful city of Sydney seen through my eyes. This book was launched with the Lord Mayor of Sydney, Clover Moore. It was an absolutely fantastic night. The book has been fabulously received, and I'm so proud of it. Along with my Melbourne book, which some of you might know, which is the same size, same format, and same sort of concept. This is Sydney: A Love Affair, and the other book is Melbourne: A Love Affair. Now, the Melbourne: A Love Affair book, which is this size, is almost out of stock. I was actually doing a bit of a stock take as I was moving all of these boxes around, and I have less than 100 out of 10,000 left. And that's pretty epic, because I never thought, you've got to believe in yourself to decide to self-publish 10,000 books and warehouse something like 19 pallets, which is what I did for that first book. Might have been more than that. I can't really remember. It's a little while ago now. But the fact that it has been such a success and I have so few left, and a friend of mine actually said, well, how many of them are you going to keep? You've got to keep some. You can't just sell them all. It's a good question. I'm not sure where I'll stop. Maybe the last 10. But if you're interested in either a Sydney book or the Melbourne book, jump on the website. Certainly with the Melbourne one, not many left. And if you'd like me to sign one, let me know. And in recognition of the great sale of Sydney books, I would like to do a little bit of a promotion on the channel. I love this book, and I think it needs more love. I think it needs to be out there more in the world. I have made thousands and thousands of them, and I've still got maybe half of the original amount that I made to go. Let's have a sale. It's normally $89. I just love the book to get out there rather than sitting in the warehouse here. I'd love to have another pallet gone and another pallet gone. Why not? It's time. It's time, and yeah, the world slowed down there for a couple of years, but I think it's time to start spinning, and for me to start to get my joy back for what it is that I've done for almost 35 years, which is produce books, greeting cards, postcards, posters, framed images, original artwork. That's what I've done. That's been the majority of what I have done for the last 34 years. And, I think I lost a little bit of confidence with all of that during COVID, because it just largely came to a standstill here in Melbourne, Australia for a couple of years. It's quite beguiling how the world just it pivoted in such a short space of time. But now I am ready to ramp things back up again. So let's have a sale. Let's take 25% off this book. Let's get on with cleaning up this space and moving towards having a photographic studio here sometime soon. Well, thank you for joining me for this. Yeah, this is an episode that's a little bit different, but I kind of think it's super important for you actually to see behind the scenes of the business side of my world. And the business side of my world has had nothing to do with YouTube for the first, 27, 28 years of my business. 29 years was pre-YouTube, and this is what I did. I made things, I made books, I made cards, I made posters, I made journals. I just made a lot of stuff that I love, and I'm ready to get back into that world. Of course, I'm going to stay in this world because I love it. I love filmmaking and I love sharing. But I want to shake things up. I think it's important that you know where I'm coming from. I think a big part of why I love the logistics and the business side of the industry is the fact that I have run my own business and I am very aware of the logistics. The fact that if you manufacture something, you don't just dream it and then it ends up in people's hands, a finished product. There are so many stages, and even for creating something as simple as a greeting card, that's a greeting card, it's been scored. Even creating something as simple as this is actually relatively difficult. And there's quite a few things to learn to get it right if you're mass producing them. And I produce greeting cards 5,000 at a time. So 5,000 of these are on the shelf behind us here, along with almost 200 other SKUs. Now, a SKU is, there's this picture and then there's another picture and there's 200 different images with 5,000 cards. Now, of course, cards was the first thing I started to make in late 1990. And I've sold about half of all of the cards that I've ever made. Cards, postcards, gift tags. choosing designs, knowing what people want. That's a really tough business. And the business of cards, that's a business that's changed immensely with the rise of the computer and then the rise of the mobile phone, the cell phone. And so, yeah, greeting cards, tough business to be in. And that's why I got into books. And of course, my first book, it's just about sold out. And that's why I love this stuff. This is what I've done. This is what I've done my whole life. So when I'm talking about other camera companies and what they might be doing with their gear and all those sorts of things, it's exactly the same from a business perspective as any type of product. You've got to dream it up, you've got to design it, then you've got to mass produce it, and then you've got to freight it, and there's some other stages in there as well, like you worry about quality control and you worry about pricing. And I mean, pricing alone is a science unto itself. And I love pricing. My book's so heavy, there's only 7. That's all the details right there. And I love how my experience in my own business for all of these decades directly applies to what we talk about in the YouTube space. It's no different. The thing that is different is the scale and the fact that it's electronics as opposed to paper, but we still have all of the same constraints. And I suppose the only things that I would say are different are things like if you're designing a sensor, well, that is way more complicated than creating a book. But I do everything in my business. Whereas, say, Sony, Canon, or Nikon, well, they have teams. They have thousands of people doing this. So, yeah. Anyway, interesting stuff. If you're still here in this video, fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and listening. I love this space. I love sharing. And I think there should be more behind the scenes. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the fact that I'm creating a studio space here in the warehouse for both commercial work and YouTube episodes. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. It's been so good to see you, and if this is your first time here, I would love to see you again. All right. Catch you later.